Now to the frantic rescue effort underway in Thailand for 12 boys and their soccer coach. The team's been trapped in an underground flooded cave for 12 days now, and a threat of monsoon rains expected to hit the region at the end of the week is forcing officials to consider an evacuation attempt within days. Rescuers have said it could take weeks, if not months, to get these boys out. Let's bring in NBC's Janice Mackey-Fraser outside the cave in Thailand. She's been following this since the beginning. Janice, what is the latest development in the plans to get them out, possibly before this rain hits?
Well, this is a critical 24 hours, Ali, with the heavy rains that are looming in the forecast. The pumps have been working here 24/7 to try and get the water out. They've pumped out millions of gallons. It's thought that the water level is now at a point where roughly 1 mile of the nearly 3-mile journey that the boys would have to make is now walkable. There are other parts where they would be able to float with the help of the Navy divers, but it's those points where they would need diving skills that remain the greatest risk. The boys can't swim, and there's also this threat of panic. But there is also a change in energy here tonight. There's a lot more activity. They've been in full preparations behind me. There have been a lot of oxygen canisters that have been brought in as well. So there is this sense that this is a limited window of opportunity. The pumps have been lowering the water level roughly ½ an inch an hour. And once the rains come, they're going to rise 5 times faster. The other thing I want to note, Ali, is something that the governor said last night, which he reiterated today, is that when this evacuation attempt does get underway, if it does get underway in the next 48 hours, let's say, it's not a guarantee that they would bring all the boys out at the same time. There are 2 or 3 of the boys and the coach who are apparently not strong enough. They're malnourished. They've been underground for 12 days, so they certainly don't want to take any risks. Ali?
All right, joining Janice and me is Ruingrit Shan Kwan Yoon. He's a volunteer diver who's been assisting with the rescue efforts. He was on the ground earlier this week. He's now back in Bangkok standing by. Ruingrit, can you explain to me a bit about what's going on underneath there and what the challenges are for divers and rescuers?
Hi, Alan. The challenge is the distance from the entrance of the cave and to reach to the location where the kids are. At the beginning, when I was there last week, when the cave is not fully flooded yet, we have to walk. We have to walk from the entrance to the 3rd chamber, where that's the command base inside the cave, about 3 kilometers, and then from there we have to walk another 1 kilometer inside for the first spot where we start to dive. But now, if the cave is fully flooded, like last Thursday or Friday last week, the distance is really increasing. From 2 kilometers to reach them, it will become 5 kilometers to reach to them. That is really big challenge. But the good news right now is the distance from the entrance of the cave to the 3rd chamber are mostly dry right now. They can walk in. So right now the challenge is just between the location of the kids to the 3rd chamber. That take about 2 kilometers.
Janice, is the fear that with monsoon rains that the pocket that these boys are in is in danger? I mean, is there danger that they're actually going to run out of space because of water?
Well, from what I understand. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, let's go to Janice first, then I'll come back to you, Ruingrit.
Okay.
Just to interject there, that is part of the threat, is that because the water levels would rise so fast, probably about 6 inches an hour in heavy rains, which are inevitable, they are coming, there is the sense that what little comfort the boys have been able to manage in this cave, the bit of higher ground that they have on this rock shelf, would be quickly erased, and that there is the risk that that chamber could become fully flooded.
Ruingrit, let's talk about the degree to which rescuers are able to do things to get these boys better able to help themselves get out with the assistance of rescuers. We know some of them can't swim. They're going to have to be underwater, at least for some of the rescue, some of the going out. How much can you train people like that? You're obviously an experienced diver, so this is difficult but normal for you. Can they be trained in some way that assists them in their own rescue?
Well, I believe they can be trained. One thing you have to understand, they don't need to be trained to be a scuba diver, but they need to be trained and teach how to use the equipment to breathe, right? So they don't need to swim. They don't need to learn how to swim, because the dive support team will be carrying them out and support them all the way through. So the key thing that they need to understand and learn how to use is the equipment that help them breathe, and make sure that they need to have understanding the communication between the support diver and the kids, to make sure they're not panic, or if they're panic, how do they be able to support them, or how to react when the kid is panic in the water. So that is the risk. But if you're talking about the skill set that they need to learn, it's not that much and possible to learn very quickly, especially those kids are the athletes.
Yep.
They are not a very small kid, they are a teenager. So I believe they can be teach very, very quickly.
So, Ruingrit, as somebody who's been inside that cave, what's your best option right now? What do you think the best option is for getting them out?
Well, the best option, if I can choose, is try to pump out the water as much as we can. And if the water levels go down until they can actually walk out, or at least floating out without have to scuba dive, that would be the best option.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there, and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.